so far. Anyway, this game, now Bayonetta 2, this game is awesome. For one, the protagonist is hot. I will admit to being attracted to Bayonetta, but that's more for my personality and not talking about Wang, if you know what I mean. Anyway, in the game, just like in the first Bayonetta, you basically slash up enemies. Each with different. You basically smack up enemies. Only this time, instead of just angels, you have the balance. The central story is that Sean gets hurt by one of Bayonetta's rogue servants, Gamora, the so-called Devourer of the Divine, who's pretty easy to beat if you know what you're doing. And Bayonetta has to go fight both angels and Infernos demons. In order to save her. I'm gonna just spoil the ending, saying that she does save Sean. And okay, wait. Spoiler alert: she saves Sean, obviously. And it's revealed that the kid she's traveling with, Loki, is actually half of the being Asia, who is the prophet and Laptor. Okay, needless to say, this is an event. And it's also revealed that the Balder of the present, no, the Balder from the boss from the first game, actually had Asia the prophet inside him, and died with him. Which is what happens at the end when the younger Balder, yes, that is Balder from the first game, just younger. This has the trap of the prophet inside him forever. Have Asia inside him forever. Needless to say, all ends well. It's hinted that Loki's alive, and at the end of the credits, it's shown that Balder is actually alive, and Asia is slowly trying to take control of him, and slowly succeeding. Because then Balder puts on that mask we saw in the first game. Well, in the first game, giving birth to Father Balder. Anyway, the gameplay, addicting. You get to use multiple weapons to just pound the ever-loving stuffing out of your opponents. Angels and demons. And you even get to use some of the weapons just like in the first game. Though I don't understand why we don't get the shotgun. No. Programming, I guess. Anyway. Because I don't want to be using up my storage. But quick note. Because I don't want to be using my storage, I'll be separated in my review on review on each game separately. So this is gonna be a Bayonetta 2 review video. Next one will be Blaze Blue, and so on. Anyway, now the gameplay is pretty awesome. It's just like in the first game, and where you basically rack up as much points and try to improve your score every time you go back to a boss, which is what I tried to do. Anyway. Hold on. Because that thing goes dark after a while, so I had to turn it back on. Anyway. Ironic. No, I'm just talking about this. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah. Gameplay. You also get to perform climax attacks. You know, just so basically everything from the first game returns. New mechanic is the Umbran Climax, where your attacks are boosted even for double the punishment. Leading for double the punishment. And if you build it up enough, and level it up enough, you become a chaotic force of destruction. Hold on, I'm just saving this replay. Anyway, the story is very compelling. I was determined to get through it. But one of my goals with this summer was to complete story mode. In fact, one of my goals this summer was to complete Bayonetta 2 story. And the best part is, after you do beat it, you get to play as Sean. Though the confusing part is that they still call Cereza, or Bayonetta, in the cinematics and in some of the dialogue. So telling that she's more likely just a skip. Now she does use her own voice in combat and other times, but I find it kind of jarring, especially when concerning in the story mode. If you play in the first chapter, you see two Chons instead of just a Bayonetta getting kidnapped, which I thought they were gonna go with. Whatever. Still a compelling story, though for those who of highly religious, I wouldn't consider it for them, since it talks about since he kind of delves into how the world was created, and I'm not a militant Christian, but for those who are, this game will obviously not be for you. Now the graphics are very well done. Very well done. And I mean very well done. So, you know, and as expected from a Wii U game. Now, and the voice acting is top notch. With Bayonetta and Sean's voice actors returning, with the voice actors returning to the roles. And it was actually this game that helped me find out that Luca's voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, the voice of one of my favorite Naruto character, Sasuke. So, you know, that's a plus. That's in my book. And also, we also get to find out that some people have some fighting potential I didn't know, like Rodin. Because yeah, for a brief time, Rodin fights alongside you when you finally end up in Inferno to save Sean. Almost all of them. Oh no, I was just having Paladin fight this match. Anyway, but yeah, those are all the positives I can. Oh, also, so you do get to play as Baldo for minutely in a flying section of the final chapter. Well, that blade slash is godly. My suggestion for that section: use Umbra attacks on the angels and Lumen attacks on the demons. Since you know, and since that's the weakest to get to that. At least I think. And also, here's the deal: if you turn on the auto things, which allows you to dodge instantly, do that. You'll need it for some of the later battles in the story, especially the final boss, who will be throwing everything at you. The final boss is also a true challenge of your strength. Though he is kind of the same, I must have this power because X, Y, and Z type villain that I'm kind of used to. Though he does have some redeeming qualities. his battle's fun. His personality, his goal, while ultimately cliche, he does have a good personality to keep me going. And as in wanting to stop him. It's not to the one where I'm rooting for him, obviously. It's not to where I'm rooting for him, obviously. But, you know. Yeah, it's not that I'm rooting for him or anything. But it is worth no. But I did be interested. Considering you actually it was spot. Since I've already heard a God Complex villain going, what the heck was that? When Lucas showed up. Not to mention, he actually does succeed in getting both of the eyes. Which is something really any villain does. And as well, the eyes have to be erased from existence. And considering that he was that it takes the combined might of Bayonetta and Boulder and the luck of Loki to defeat him, I have to say he's a pretty contending villain. Especially since he's the one who kind of misguided Boulder, the past Boulder, after, you know, into believing that Loki was the one who killed his family, when in actuality, Loptor was the one. It was the one. He even tried to trick Bayonetta for a second by posing as Loki, though Bayonetta kind of saw through his stick right away. And, well, ended him. And, well, you know. Now the downside. Like I said before, Enzo. Enzo's one of them. Yeah, I don't really like Enzo that much. I mean, I know what they were going for, but I just don't like him. Anyway, another downside is we don't get the players Rodin. At least not yet. I'm not sure if we can, but it sounds like we can't. But because Rodin has some fighting potential. We could. Oh, second, the aforementioned Sean being called Cereza or Bayonetta in the cinematics, and having two Johns, which is kind of jarring to be honest. But at least she has her own voice, he's in other events, and her own personality, so you know, it's not all that bad. It's not all that bad. Anyway, it's not all that bad. It's not all that bad. Yeah, it's not all. The story, like I said, is not for anyone who's highly religious. The game in total isn't open for highly religious. Yeah, the game in general isn't for anyone highly religious. Anyway, and then there's the, and yeah, so you can lock on the different is, but if you're focusing on one, you can sometimes end up, you know, locking onto another enemy. So I had to clean my bow. and if you don't have those automatic things turned on, yeah, it can really screw you over. And if, well, that's actually if your dodging game isn't on point, it can really screw you over. And needless to say, that can end up very badly for you. Then there's some of the he's watered, and then there's Figrid, and then there's also Here's an idea.